Welcome to Coast Community Library in Point Arena, California. My name is Julia Lark, and we're here today with a presentation by a local famous author, Jeanne Jackson, and she's going to give a program titled Babies of the Coast.
Hi, my name's Jeanne Jackson. I'm a local writer for our newspaper. I write a nature column where people send me their nature sightings, sometimes with photos. And it's called Mendonoma Sightings. It's named for Mendocino, so Mendo, and Noma for Sonoma, Mendonoma Sightings. And I've been doing the column for over 15 years now, and it's been a real big hit with the community because the whole premise behind it is that not everyone is going to see that gray whale breach, but if one person saw it and then shared it with me so I could share it with the broader community, then we all could see it in our mind's eye. And we live in a nature wonderland here on the Mendonoma coast, so it's fun to share our sightings with each other this way. And I've written several books. One of them is called Mendonoma Sightings throughout the year. I found out that about 10 years into doing my column that I had a really good inventory of pictures that had dates on them that shows me what you could see each month of the year. And I had a naturalist tell me, Jeanne, your book is a moment in time showing what was happening then, and as things change, as things evolve, whether it be climate change or natural evolution, this book might be studied by naturalists in the future. And I was very touched by that, to be able to contribute to the knowledge base. And then I decided to write several children's books. I have 2 of them out, 2 more to come for the 4 seasons. And they're based on the point of view of a rescued golden retriever from Taiwan, who my husband and I adopted, and he's experiencing nature on the coast. And he's very enthusiastic about what he gets to learn. And here he's seen brown pelicans go by. And as we are recording this in June of 2021, right now we are seeing brown pelicans heading northward, the young ones with the brown heads and the white tummies. And I'll be showing you pictures of that in the video presentation that I'll be showing you next. So I'm real proud and happy to be able to share what I've learned about nature here.
I want to add that we have those books at the library here,
Of course.
available to check out. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm happy to share some of the knowledge that I've learned from studying the animals on the Mendonoma coast, and I hope you enjoy learning too. So I'm going to start with one of our smallest birds, the Anna's hummingbird, and they're year-round here on the Mendonoma coast. And they build these beautiful little nests out of lichen and cobwebs. And the mother is the one who builds the nest, and here you'll see 2 eggs. And here the mother is sitting on her nest, so she nestles in there. She's so beautiful. She's nurturing her eggs. And then the babies are born, and they're called chicks when they're in the nest. And so because the nest was made out of cobwebs and lichen, it's expandable. And as the chicks grow, so will the nest. It's very ingenious. And if you look at the bottom of the photo, you can see that the nest is positioned on a horizontal branch. So one of the reasons you don't want to do pruning in the spring is because you might miss a tiny little hummingbird nest. And here's a newborn Steller's jay nest, and I wanted to show you how the newborn chicks have absolutely no feathers when they're born. They look like little prehistoric animals. And then just 10, 12 days later, they are fully covered with all of their feathers. It's the same nest, just 12 days later. Steller's jays are also year-round residents here on the coast. And here's kind of a rare picture of baby barn owls. This woman has a barn north of Point Arena, and every year she's been getting little barn owl chicks. And then here are the chicks a little bit older. Aren't they beautiful? With their heart-shaped face and their chests, the little black marks on them, they look like jewels when the sun hits them. So it's a real treat to see barn owls. Barn owls actually hunt for rodents in big open meadows and fields. So the Manchester area is a really good place, a habitat for barn owls. And this is a really rare photo. I'm really happy to be able to share it to you. It's a baby American badger. We don't see very many of these small creatures. This baby actually fell off the cliffs at Salt Point State Park on the east side. And Craig Tooley and Rita Peck came across this baby crying on the side of the highway. And they're trained in rescue of different wildlife. And they actually had a cage in their truck. So they stopped to help this little creature. But this little creature, this American badger, is fierce. And it did not want to go into the cage. It did not realize they were trying to help. And a game warden came by and helped them. So 2 men and a woman to get this little baby in a kennel, in a crate. And then they hiked up the bluff and let the baby go. So I'm really happy to show you this sweet face. But don't be mistaken. It's a fierce little guy or gal. And so we have gray foxes here, and I think they're among the cutest creatures that live on the coast. And this is an absolute newborn baby gray fox, and the fox babies are called kits. And I wanted to show you a picture of a kit in the background with its mother. The mother looks kind of tired, doesn't she? But she has a whole litter of kits, and she nurses them. And they will move their kittens if they think there is some disturbance that bothers them. And in this case, this fellow caught the mother gray fox moving her litter of babies. And the father is behind the mother. The father stays with the mother and his offspring and watches over them. It's really quite wonderful. And gray foxes have a raspy bark. It's quite unusual. I've heard it where I live in Anchor Bay. And the father will warn off people if they get too close to the nest. But I always thought how lucky you would be to have a gray fox kit maybe under a nest under your den and be able to see them. They play, they run, they tumble. It's really quite wonderful. So we have harbor seals here. Harbor seals are called an apex creature, where if they are doing well, that means the whole environment is doing well. And we have a lot of harbor seals off the Mendonoma coast. And the harbor seal mother has 1 pup a year. And when the pup is born, they touch noses. And that's what's happening in this picture. The pup is touching noses with its mother. And this is a bonding experience for them. And they're getting to know each other. And the pup will go in the water right away, but they're born on rocky beaches and rocky outcroppings. So in the springtime, you want to be very careful if you go to the beach, especially if you have a dog. Make sure your dog is on the leash and explore the beach before you let your dog loose, if that's what you're going to do. And yourself too. Just see what's going on, because we don't want to disturb these precious animals. And they come to the safety of the beaches to give birth. And we need to give them space in the springtime to do that and not disturb them. So I would say if you came across some harbor seals that were very pregnant and about ready to give birth, don't go on that beach. Just go up to the bluffs and stay back a little ways and observe from a distance. Because it's really an honor to be able to observe them, and we don't want to disturb them at all or harm them in any way. So as I said, a harbor seal mother only has 1 pup a year. And there's a lot of playing going on the beach with them. And oftentimes the mother will go into the ocean after giving birth because she needs to fish for herself. Harbor seals eat seafood. So if you see a harbor seal pup on the beach, don't worry. Let it be. If you're concerned, you can always call the Marine Mammal Center, and they will send someone trained in rescue. But never try to rescue an animal by yourself. Let the trained people assess it. And in most cases, they don't need to be rescued. They're just fine. So we also have river otters here, and they're another animal that tells you of the health of the rivers on the Mendonoma coast, the river and the ocean. This creature, being a river otter, can live in rivers and the ocean, and also can walk on land. In fact, one year, this fellow, Phil Atkins, photographed a river otter crossing Highway 1 in Wallala. It's just amazing. We've had surfers see them come out of the water and climb the bluffs. So this is a baby river otter pup, and river otters cannot abide any pollution. So it's a testament to the cleanliness of the waters off our coast, and something to be celebrated. And river otter pups love to play. They love to play on the rocks in the water. They've been seen sliding down kelp-lined rocks. And here's a photo of the mother in the middle with two of her offspring. The father takes off. He doesn't have anything to do with rearing his offspring. It's all on the mother. There's a known group of river otters at the mouth of the Walla River. So if you enjoy kayaking, which I would recommend, and you're quiet in your kayak as you paddle along, you might be fortunate to see a family of river otters. They've also been seen in Point Arena at Arena Creek and off of creeks on the Sea Ranch. So they can be seen, and you need to get a little ways away from the ocean usually to see them.
In rivers.
And in
fresh water.
And river mouths.
But they are in the ocean near river mouths.
They are.
Sort of thing.
I have a recent photo of a river otter, Julia, that caught a huge fish in the ocean, almost as big as itself. So it was really wonderful to see. We also have California sea lions in here, and this is a mother with her newborn pup. Usually the sea lion mothers and pups are a little south of us. We have an active male sea lion colony on Fish Rocks, which is off of Anchor Bay. And they're very noisy. They obviously have a lot to say. In fact, one of the pieces of property near there is called Barking Rocks, because that's what it sounds like. They're barking all the time. But the little pup looks so cute, and this particular mother did come up to our coast to give birth. And here's another photo of a sea lion pup. And see, they've got little ears. Can you see the little ear on the left side of the photo? It's one way to tell a sea lion from a harbor seal. Sea lions have noticeable ears, and harbor seals only have an opening. They have no ear that you can see. And sea lions are quite noisy, and harbor seals, for the most part, are quite silent. Cute. And of course, we have fawns here, and springtime for fawns is always a very charming time of year. The deer that are here are called black-tailed deer or mule deer, and the fawns love to play with each other. You can see them often in meadows. And I just love this photo of this fawn jumping. He's almost like taking flight. I think something startled it. But you see all the spots. They'll lose those spots. Those are showing you that it's a very young baby deer, a fawn. That's what they're called. And we've had this rare occurrence here on the coast of several white fawns. And they're not albinos or leucistic is the new term, because they have some color. They've got black eyes, and you can see some pink in the white fawn's ears. And these fawns do eventually color up somewhat, but the fawn on the left is this white fawn's brother. And she's white, and he's normal colored. And I think that this particular fawn, the white fawn, grew up to be a fully mature doe, and she actually had a white fawn of her own. So it's something that we look for every year. We haven't seen any for a few years, but it's a recessive gene, I was told by the Department of Fish and Wildlife experts, that a buck must have. And so if he comes through the area again, maybe we'll get some more white fawns. It's rather problematic for these fawns because they don't have their camouflage. But all of the white fawns that we know of and chronicled survived, so it was really amazing. There was one born between Valhalla and Point Arena, and several born on the Sea Ranch. One person described seeing the white fawn as like seeing a magical being. So I hope you get to see one day. And here's the white fawn starting to get a little color on its haunches. But isn't she beautiful?
I love the ears.
The ears are gorgeous. So ospreys come here right around the 1st of spring. They overwinter down way far to our south in South America, but they come back to the Mendonoma coast because if you ever hear this phrase called location, 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 it's meant in real estate to know that that's the best place to have a house or have a business. Well, for ospreys, the Mendonoma coast is location, location, location. And this osprey, which is probably a male, is starting to build the nest. The males arrive first, and the females arrive within a week or two after the male appears. And I always look forward to hearing the calls that they make as they fly in the air. And sometimes we'll have really big winters with big storms and winds, and their nests will get knocked down. And they tend to build their nest in the same tree year after year. And this year that we had of 2020-2021 winter was quite, well, it was a drought. We didn't have a whole lot of big storms. And so most of the nests survived, and all they had to do was just reinforce them. It was real fun to watch them. And so they'll get together and they will lay an egg or two. In this case, they had one chick. The chick is in the middle. And see the nest, it has all kinds of sticks, and there's a lot of lichen, and they will line the interior of the nest with lichen so it's nice and soft for their babies. And the male will hunt for his mate and his offspring until the offspring is big enough for the mother to hunt too. So she's very loyal and will watch over her baby. So here the dad is bringing in a fish, and you can see the baby on the left has gotten pretty big, and the mother is watching on the right. And I think they're saying, "Hey, Dad, good job. All right, we're going to eat." Ospreys are also called seahawks because they mostly eat fish. And it's really fun to see them fishing in the ocean. They will do some fishing in the river, but mostly it's in the ocean. And they go in for the fish, talons feet down. And once the father brings fish, then the mother will tear little bites off and feed it to her offspring. And that's what's happening in this picture. Nice. Yeah.
So delicate.
Yes, very delicate. And we have possums here, but this is about the only photo I have of a baby possum in the 15 plus years I've been writing my column. And this was seen at the Wallala Art Center, so I wanted to show you this possum. We don't get too many sightings of them, so it's fun to see. But we do have raccoons. We've got lots of raccoons, and they also call mask bandits because they've got that black marking on their face, which kind of looks like a mask. And she will move her babies, her kittens, like we saw the gray foxes moving theirs. You see domestic house cats do that with their kittens too. And this next picture is fun because it's an old stump, and this group of raccoon kits were just having so much fun playing on it and coming out through the holes and so on. I like that the photographer is Siegfried Matul, and he got the one kit just flying out off of the stump. Really cute. So just like you children enjoy playing, these animals enjoy playing too. And this is a bobcat kitten. We have bobcats here year-round, and you don't get to see the young kittens much because the mother keeps them hidden until they're nearly grown. So this was seen by Mark Simpkins up in the Manchester area, so I'm really happy to be able to show you a picture of a bobcat kitten. And here's a picture of an adult to show you that they're named bobcats because of their short bobbed tail. I mean, that's the way that they're born, with a short tail. And look at their ears. They've got these little black tufts on the top of their ears. And every bobcat has a different set of markings on its coat. So theoretically, you could identify each bobcat by the markings. I was told that their markings are as unique to them as our fingerprints are to us. Kind of fun to know. They hunt for rodents. They hunt for a lot of things. If you have chickens here on the coast, you have to protect them from this animal. This animal loves chickens and will destroy them all. I have a photo that Judy Mello took of the B. Byron Preserve of an adult bobcat climbing their giraffe fence, which is like 20 feet tall. And they can climb anything. So this is kind of a fun photo of, this is a rough-skinned newt, and they're one of the amphibians that live near our creeks here on the Mendonoma coast, and the baby is crawling across its mother. So can you see the baby at the bottom of the photo? And their underneath parts, their underparts, are actually colored bright orange. So when you see them walking in the forest, they flash their orange underparts. It's really fun to see, and they kind of sashay, so you can see they're orange. And we have a seasonal creek on our property in Anchor Bay, and we have these particular newts, especially in the rainy season. We get to see them. And this is a baby Dungeness crab. There are certain river mouths that are nurseries for the Dungeness crab, and this woman is having one on her hand so you can see the scale and how tiny it is. And they get born in the millions of crabs, and many other creatures eat them, as gulls and other birds. So they have large numbers of young, so they have enough to survive and be in the ocean, and they eat a lot of other creatures besides humans eat them too. And I'm really happy to be able to show you this baby western toad. And this is a newly hatched toad, very, very tiny, less than your thumb fingernail. And don't they look like little pebbles? So here's a picture next I want to show you. How many western toad babies can you see in this picture? So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 baby toads. So it's one of the reasons I tell people they should never drive in a riverbed. Because how would you see these little toads? You couldn't. They look like rocks or pebbles. Mm-hmm. So never drive in a river. Park nearby and get on your feet and explore, and maybe you'll be lucky to see baby western toads too. So here's a baby goat. There's a flock of sheep and goats on the sea ranch that they use to munch down all the grasses. And I wanted to show you a couple of them. So a baby goat is called a kid, and a baby sheep is called a lamb. So for some reason this baby lamb wanted to crawl in this container and just rest. It looks pretty happy, don't you think? I think it's smiling. And here's a lamb enjoying the sun. There's a blackbird in the back. I just thought it was a sweet picture of this lamb. And I mentioned the B. Byron Preserve. They have what they call hoof animals from Africa. It's a really fun place to visit if you're here in Point Arena area. And this is a baby Grevy's zebra. And the funny thing is, it had just seen a gopher pop up. And it was like looking at where this gopher was. It was like, Mom, what the heck is that? She's used to seeing them, so. And we have California quail here. They have large amounts of chicks. So if you look on the left side of the bench, there's one of the parents, and on the right side is the other. I think the male is on the right, and the female is on the left. And they're very devoted in watching over their flock of chicks. The chicks are very vulnerable. One of the things that's sad is that people let their cats out, their domestic cats out, and they will hunt these chicks. So we ask if at all possible you keep your domestic cats inside so the wildlife can thrive. They're really charming to see, and they will run and go under bushes, get some cover. It's real fun to see this time of year. They have babies a little later than most birds, so this is the time. We're doing this recording in June of 2021, so this would be a time to look for them. And so this is a juvenile brown pelican. It got tired, and it landed at the Point Arena Lighthouse Bluffs. And Ron Bolander, local photographer, got this photo. So I wanted to show you that the juveniles, the baby brown pelicans, have brown heads, and their tummies are white. So here's a picture next, which shows one in flight, which is more likely how you would see them. So this is a juvenile, a baby brown pelican, with a light tummy and the brown head. And this time of year, June, is when we're seeing them come by with the adults. So on the right, there is an adult with a white head and a dark brown tummy, and then possibly his or her offspring with a brown head and a white tummy. So one of the things I'd like to encourage you to do is to go to the bluffs in the late spring and early summer to see the brown pelicans headed northward. They get born off of the Santa Barbara coast area, and then when the juveniles, the babies, are strong enough to fly, then they start flying northward, and they're looking for food. And in the late afternoon, they will land sometimes in our local rivers. And as graceful and lovely as they are to watch flying by, they are clumsy when they come in for a landing. So it's laugh-out time to see them land in the river. They'll also land on rocky offshoots of rocks off our coast and rest overnight. So there are a lot of different gull species, but there's only one gull species that have their young here on the Mendonoma coast, and that's western gulls. And they're kind of hard to see in this picture because they're really well camouflaged, which gives them some protection from, say, ravens or hawks or owls. So there are two chicks in this picture, and this next picture will show you what the chick looks like compared to its adult mother. Quite a difference. And so then I'm moving into off of our coast. I could show you babies for hours, but I have to just pick some. And so I picked the whales to show you. We also have dolphins and porpoises and lots of other fish that come by and that we get to see. But the gray whale migration is a phenomenal sight to see. And they make the longest migration of any other whale or mammal. They will, in the wintertime or the late fall, they will swim from the Arctic all the way down to the lagoons off of Baja. And then in April and May, they will turn around and the mothers with their new calves will swim by, going all the way back to the Arctic. So when we see the mothers with the calves is when we get the best chance to see them because they're closer to shore, and the mother comes up more often so her calf can breathe on a more regular basis. So here there's a mother on the left and her calf on the right. And the gray whale calves seem to love to breach. So you can tell the difference between a gray whale calf and a mother, other than the size, of course. The calf is much smaller. But the calf's head is kind of stubby. It's not as elongated as it will get as it grows into adulthood. And it also has no barnacles on it yet. These barnacles attach themselves to the adult whales, and they catch a ride with them, and we're not totally sure if there's some kind of symbiotic relationship where there's some win-win. Do the barnacles give something to the gray whales, or is it all one way? We just don't know. But it is fun to see the enthusiasm and boisterousness of the gray whale, young gray whales that just love to breach. And breach means that they come out of the water, and then they splash down. Oftentimes you'll see the splash first, and then if you train your binoculars or look, maybe you'll see another breach or two. There's lots going out there on the ocean. You just need to take a few minutes and watch. And I wanted to show you this because this is a pretty rare photo of a gray whale. This is an adult because if you look on the left, you will see those barnacles I'm talking about. And also the face, the snout is much more elongated. But if you look just about 2 inches above the waterline, on the left side there is the eye of the gray whale. And this is called spy hopping, when the gray whale comes vertically out of the water and appears to be either looking around or listening for the surf break. We're just not sure what's going on here. But I've actually seen this myself, and they're very quiet. There's no sound to it, and then they silently just go back down into the ocean. I almost didn't believe what I was seeing. A real treat. And here's a gray whale tail just for you to take a look at to see if you can identify one. When you see a spout, which is the whale breathing out, then you oftentimes get to see the back and oftentimes get to see the tail. So that's what you look for. You're not always lucky enough to see a breach and be able to see nearly the whole whale. So we also get to see humpback whales in the summertime and the fall. They're born to our south, and just like the brown pelicans, when the calf, the baby, is strong enough, then the mother will take her calf northward, and they're coming for, they actually, as big as they are, they eat small creatures like anchovies, and they follow the food. And there was a humpback, several humpbacks seen yesterday off of Bodega Bay, so this is June 26th, so they were seen on June 25th, and I would expect that we will be seeing humpbacks off our coast in the immediate days ahead. So their flippers are quite unique. You can see the flippers on the calf, the baby here. That's very distinctive for humpbacks. And then this is a picture that one of our local photographers took, Craig Tooley, from an airplane. And it's a mother humpback whale, and in the lower right-hand corner there is the calf. It's kind of hard to see, so see if you can spot the baby whale. Really fun photo. As the mother was coming up, you can see her exhalation of her air, the spout, that white substance coming up from her, and you can see she's parted the ocean surface.
The baby's way, way right-hand corner underwater, really tiny, yeah.
And here's a humpback baby breaching. So again, see the flippers, how big they are and white. It's very distinctive and a way to tell that's what you're seeing, a humpback whale. And also the lines on the throat. I'm sure there's a technical name for them, and I just don't know it at the moment. But that's also unique to these humpback whales. The babies just seem to love to breach. They have exuberance, and there seems to be a lot of joy in performing this, so it's fun to see. And then this is the tail of a humpback whale, a little different from the gray whale. And oftentimes they will have scratches and marks and tears and so on, and it's a way for scientists and citizen scientists like us to be able to identify the different whales. We've got several people here on the coast that are doing that with gray whales, and other scientists are doing it for humpbacks and many other species. So if you're interested, if you live here full time, maybe this would be a fun project for you to go out on the bluffs on a regular basis. If you have a camera phone or an old camera, take photos and see if you can start identifying the same whale. It'd be fun. And then lastly, I wanted to show you the largest creature that we see here. In fact, it's the largest creature on Earth, and that's the blue whale. And their spout can be as high as 35 feet high. That's just enormous. So they usually are seen just one or two together because they're so huge and they need so much food, and they eat the tiniest food of all. They eat krill and other amphipods. So you don't see a huge amount of them, not off of our coast. I think the only place where you would see a large amount of them would be, say, in the Farallon Islands to our south, which just teems with food. But here, if someone says, "Jeannie, I saw a dozen blue whales," I don't think so. That would be really extremely rare. So look for one or two, and this is the time of year into the fall that we get to see them. So for as large as they are, they have this tiny little dorsal fin on their back. It's almost ironic that it's so small in comparison to their huge body. And then here's a picture of the blue whale tail. So because they're so big, they don't come out of the water very much. I had said in one lecture that they don't breach, and then I was corrected by whale expert Scott Mercer that said he has seen one breach, but they are so big, I would think that it's extremely rare because it would just take too much energy to hurl themselves out of the water. So blue whales, I'm told, that when the adult mouth is fully open, a bull elephant could fit inside. That is how big they are. Wow. They are the biggest creatures on Earth, and they may be the biggest creatures ever to live on Earth, including the biggest dinosaurs. And so this is a beautiful photo that I got from the Mercers just in time to show you in this presentation of a blue whale mother with her calf. So I don't know the origins of it, but it shows it so beautifully. And I just think it's so wonderful to know that they're living in the ocean, and we want to do everything we do not to negatively impact them. And I know some of the worries about our whales are entanglement, especially with fishing pots and crab pots. And there's been some new developments in technology that I hope will solve that, and that we'll never see entanglements again, and that they can always swim free in the oceans that is their home. And then lastly, I have one bonus baby picture for you. This is one of our native wildflowers called Baby Blue Eyes. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation of babies on the Mendonoma coast today.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
Jeanne.
so welcome.